I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
Conversate with Us Radio presents the Man Listen Show. We are the blackest radio show on the internet. We bring you our opinion on topics that affect the Black community in an effort to enlighten, enrich, and empower every brother and sister that falls under the sound of our voice. We operate on a no-hating frequency, so be prepared for us to keep it 100% real and 100% Black all the time. Please follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Man Listen Show. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, basically anywhere you can find a podcast. Go to our website, www.manlistenshow.com. You can listen to our past episodes. You can also go to our Instagram, click the link in the bio. You can find a link to our merch, buy the merch, support the show, and make sure you tell everybody about the blackest radio show on the internet, the Man Listen Show. I'm your host, Mark B. Let's bring the crew in. All right, so just 3 soldiers today. Shout out to C. The movie, They Cloned Tyrone. Did I get a chance to check it out?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So first question. Was this the movie where Jamie Foxx had his medical episode and they continued without him, or was it a different movie?
I was wondering the same thing. I hadn't heard nobody say anything.
It must not. I don't think it was, though. It couldn't have been.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, because I saw like behind the scenes, like photos, and it showed like, but they probably filmed stuff out of order.
Mm-hmm.
I saw like the finale scene. A friend of mine, fellow alumni of ours from Mizzou. She was an alumni. She was a extra on the show. She was posting pictures of how like she was a marker for John Boyega and pictures of Jamie Foxx or what have you. So I don't think that this was the movie in which he had his medical episode. I'm saying that a lot of people said he had a stroke, but we don't know, so I'm not going to put it out there. But I thought it was kind of ironic. We're going to get into the movie. First of all, spoiler alert. If you have not seen They Cloned Tyrone, go ahead. We love you. Come back after you've watched it, and then, see if you agree with us or if you disagree with us. Or if you just don't care, continue to watch. We appreciate you anyway. But, people were getting on Jamie Foxx because he had been sick, right? And folks have been praying for him. And then like he was like showing up like they see him on a yacht, see him walking into a party or what have you. And folks was like, man, we've been sitting here praying for you, man. You can't even announce that you okay. Like, what's up with that? So then he made an announcement, and Negroes were saying that ain't Jamie Foxx, that's a clone. And they was like comparing like the announcement video to like old pictures or whatever. Now, of course, if you've been sick for any amount of time, it changes your look. It does. Like, he looked a whole lot thinner, but they were just like, nah, look at this, look at that. It's a clone. And I was like, man, this is how apropos that he got a movie coming out talking about They Cloned Tyrone, and then folks talking about that ain't Jamie Foxx, that's a clone. Negroes will believe anything. They won't believe that the vaccine for COVID works. They won't believe that the vaccine for COVID works, but they'll believe that they can clone Jamie Foxx. Come on, yeah.
Man, I was like, man, was this all a stunt for the movie? Was this all publicity for the movie?
No.
Yeah. But shout out to Jamie Foxx. Glad that you're doing better, my brother. So the movie They Cloned Tyrone. What'd y'all think? Enrico, we'll start with you, ladies first.
I thought it was cool. I mean, I didn't necessarily think about what grade I would give it, but would I ever watch it again? No. But did I think it was interesting? Yeah, I was tuned in mostly, as much as I do be tuned in. I never really just sit still and watch a whole movie. I'm always doing other stuff. So I was doing a puzzle, and the puzzle was more interesting. But the movie was cool.
Damn, okay. All right, laugh.
Man, that was harsh, wasn't it? Nah.
You gonna review it. You doing the puzzle shit.
Yeah. Nah, I thought it was an okay movie as well. It wasn't, everybody was like, "Oh, you got to see it. It's so great. It's so great." Maybe going into it with that expectation kind of skewed my thinking on it, or what I thought it was going to be, or what it should have been. But overall, I thought it was a pretty entertaining film. Had a lot of I didn't realize I thought it had a pretty strong cast. You know, I didn't realize that it was going to have that good of a cast in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. You know, I would say, since I guess I'm the only one to give it a grade, I would give it a B minus. I would give it a B minus, and the reason why I give it that is because I appreciated the message that it was trying to send, or that it did send. We talked about it in the past on all of our shows, how the situations, the circumstances that our community finds itself in, it's a plan, it's a design. There's no reason why the east side of Topeka, Kansas, where I grew up, looks just like East St. Louis, just like North Omaha, just look like any neighborhood, any hood in the United States. They all look the same. And I thought it was interesting that they showed how those different characters, when they talked about, okay, they cloned everybody from the Glen. The Glen was the city that they were in, right? The make-believe city that they were in. They said they cloned everybody in the Glen. They said, nah, just certain people. And the people that they cloned were the people who were helping bring the community down, the pimp, the drug dealers, the neighborhood drunk. They were cloning those folks who were bringing it down because they were like, listen, we need to keep these people, we need to keep this neighborhood in a certain state of flux so that we can continue to do what we do. So because of that, I appreciated it, because it was a commentary on how white supremacy, this government, how all those things actually really do happen. You know, the things that, they showed the cigarettes, they showed the food, the music, all of those things we've talked about ad nauseum on this show, how those things have a negative impact on us as a community. You know, the food that we ingest, the music that we listen to, cigarettes. I was just reading a report how they've been putting menthol in cigarettes for years, and how that is much more deadly to people than just regular cigarettes. Cigarettes are deadly, but smoking cigarettes and menthol have a much greater impact on your health. Who was menthol cigarettes targeted towards? Black people.
Yeah, only in the Black communities they have.
Only in the Black community. Only who were they targeting malt liquor to? Black people. I very rarely do I see that. I remember when I was drinking, that I would see white folks drinking, malt liquor. They would drink Mickey's, right? Like the Irish dudes would drink Mickey's or some stuff like that. But very rarely did you see people just drinking malt liquor. So I appreciated the commentary on it. Lab, you talked about the cast. I thought that the cast did a fairly good job. Fox, John Boyega. I think her name is Tiana Parrish.
Yeah.
The lead female actor, the lead woman actor. I thought they did a really good job. I didn't have any issues with the acting. And I didn't have any issues with the plot either. I thought the plot was, it was kind of
cheeky,
sci-fi-ish, kind of cheeky or whatever. But I still appreciate it because of the message that it sent.
Yeah.
Which message though?
Well, I guess that's on you as a person. Like, what message did you derive from it? So, what message did you get from it while you were doing your puzzle?
So, but my thing was, the message throughout the movie was how the white community was putting all of these negative things into the Black community, and then they circle back at the end and have the Black man being the mastermind behind it, and that whole assimilation versus annihilation, that's kind of where they started losing me.
Yeah, and that was a weak kind of a plot twist, but we do know that there were people, all kinfolk ain't skinfolk, and there were Negroes that were on the side of white folks, basically participating to hold us back. Started back in the motherland, Africa. The folks who sold us over here. You know, so it's not outside of the realm of possibility.
Right.
Have a black man be the mastermind of what was going down. I thought it was kind of interesting because when they talked about, you know, basically, and what's the term for it? When they talk about manipulating genes, uh, eugenics. So when they were basically,
Okay, eugenic. Yeah, yeah.
basically, where they, you know, like they were performing eugenics, right?
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing is to get the hair. They were showing the white boys with the froze and shit.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and then they showed how like this is going to take generations. And
Yeah.
you and I talked about it. We talked about the
Mm-hmm.
destruction of black civilization, how they don't mind, like, okay, this is what's going to be right now, but over 3, 4, 5 generations, we're going to get to where we need to be. So
Mhm.
for me, I was able
Literally.
to extrapolate it and put that
Mhm.
into able to make it make sense for me. But I can see how some people would be like, "Come on, man, for real." I can see how some people didn't even get it.
Right.
Really?
I think also um sometimes, I mean, this is not necessarily a commentary on this movie, but as a whole, I think sometimes we go into movies looking for more than what they were. I don't know, you know, you say, oh, this is what this is what it spoke to me, or this is what I got from it. And I think, quite frankly, a lot of times they're just trying to provide entertainment. I think we read too much into some of the stuff. I think some of the stuff is, you know, so we say it's kind of cheeky and all that, but it's a movie, it's entertainment, and they can only go so far with what they're trying to say. And, you know, my only gripe when it comes to stuff like that is I understand you say, oh, this is the problem, but I'm more a solution oriented, you know, so we can have these movies every year, we can have another movie to come out like this, but until we have one that shows how we can address that situation or how we should address that situation, how we would go forward, then it really is, it's just entertainment.
See, but to me, I have to disagree with you. You remember Jordan Peele's movie, Get Out?
Yep.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Get Out was a good. I think it was like a. Can't say it was like a great movie, right? It didn't have the best ending either, but it had like a message to it. And what I appreciated about Get Out, and even the movie that he came out after that, Us, was that there was certain what they call Easter eggs that if you paid attention to them, then it makes sense. Or it's like, oh, for real, that's why they put that there. I don't think they had many Easter eggs. Like they were like hitting you over your head with like the type of like, okay, the comparisons, like the fried chicken, the cigarettes, the communion juice, the grape juice,
The perm. Yeah.
perms,
Yeah.
right? I mean, but all those things are real, right?
There you go. Yeah.
We talked about how like black women, the relaxers, and how like they were marketing relaxers to black women, and the women that they were using to market the relaxers didn't even need the relaxers. That was a natural hair, right?
Mhm.
Which to me, that's a case in my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lawsuit against perms
Yeah.
going on right now.
So I think that I watched it twice.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it twice, and when you go back, there are certain Easter eggs, certain like tales, like the guy, the drunk. He always was saying something. When you go
Mm-hmm.
back and you look at it, you can say he was predicting. He was giving them a message. He was trying to show them, okay, this is what's going on. If you watch it, it stand out to you. So there's things that you pick up. And then the other thing that I disagree with you, I just want to hear y'all's opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
It did show a solution though, because you notice how the people that were bringing the community down, and we always talk about this, the young G's in the community that was bringing it down when it was time to upset the system. What did they do? They banded together and they rode to override the oppressors, the people that were experimenting on the community. So, and we talk about it all the time, right? How, you know, we got young brothers killing each other. When we got fools like Zimmerman walking around here, where y'all at? Y'all know where to be found. So I don't know, man. That's just how I see it. Which I think.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Yeah.
again, I did like that part too. I'm not gonna lie. We're like, oh, so these cats came together and was like, we taking back the community, we taking back, you know, what's ours. But in the very last scene, it's almost like okay, you do what you do, but we got another one over here that ain't sticking to your script. We still got him under the program. So, it's I think that does speak to the, I think when you're in that kind of environment or you're working against the system, I think sometimes if you look at it as a broad picture, you can get frustrated because you can say, hey, I'm doing my part here, but none of these other cats they're not woke, or they don't see what's going on, and they're still into the same trap that we fell into. And so I think it does create some kind of conflict in between people and the community sometimes, or maybe just mentally. If they should continue to work, even though everybody else isn't following with them, or should they give up and just say, we know what it is, and we just play along.
All right, check it out. We're gonna get right back to the show. But listen, you want to support the show, donate to the show, go to our bio, hit our Cash App, $ Man Listen Show.
I mean, but that's part of community activism, doing something that's powerful for the Black community. I mean,
no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Honestly, like when we talk about the Man Listen Show, I'm not talking about it just because it's our show, but I know the content and the commentary that we bring every show. I think that we're on par with Breakfast Club, you name it, whatever podcast, radio show that's out there. However, we choose to talk about topics that aren't sexy. We're not talking about, what reality star was punching on who. And if we do, it's not in the fashion to help perpetuate that type of image or that type of broadcast continuing to be pushed to our people. We're talking about, hey, listen, this is something negative. It needs to be addressed. And it's just not the sexy topic to attack and to do, twice a month, every other week, or whatever you. So you really have to come to terms and the grips that not only with our people, and I'll say this, and a lot of people might get mad at this, the most frustrating thing about trying to elevate the mindset of Black people is the people that will fight you the hardest, it ain't white folks, it's Black people. Black people will fight you the hardest. When you sit there and say, hey, yo, this is what's going on. This is the design that they're bringing to the community. Well, I don't think that's what it is. And, well, what accountability, what responsibility do we have? Rika said, I can't say it. So I ain't going to say it. Rika said, I can't say it. But,
when you say that, we already know what you're saying.
We already know what you're going to say.
So you might as well say it, right?
But people who want to deflect, they want to place accountability on us as a community, but not put accountability on the people who put the traps, the pitfalls, and the obstacles in our community, in our way. And they want to blame it on us. They want to blame it on the victims and not the oppressor or the perpetrator. I respect my sister, so I won't say unalive yourself, but if I could, I would say that. You know what I'm saying? So that's my point, man. It's not the easiest thing to do what we do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the fact that because I was, the whole movie went past, and I was like, why they call this shit They Cloned Tyrone?
Me too.
Me too. Me too.
When it came, I was like, oh, okay, that was dope. That was dope.
Yeah.
I thought that was clever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like maybe because, like Lab said, he kind of watched it with the expectations from other people that he came in thinking this is going to be really good. I came in like I had an assignment. So I was paying attention. I was taking little mental notes, and then I felt like a little bit. But I felt like every time they came through, one of the things, like when the Wayans brothers used to be like, message, she's like, oh, okay. So, and I don't know, maybe the overall message was we're going to have to get the hood to work together, and we're going to have to take out all the Black people that's working with white people in order to to bring us to the other side. Maybe.
I've been saying that, But honestly, I think that even for us, we're at a level, we're at an age and a mindset and a level of maturity that this seems somewhat elementary to us because we've been talking about it for years, right? We've had family members, friends, mentors who have pointed out, now, this is what they're doing. This is how they're trying to keep the community down. But what I appreciated about it was that my son, who's 20 years old, was like, Dad, did you see They Cloned Tyrone? I want to talk to you about it. Let's talk about it. And he was like, you know, his ideas. Now, you know, some stuff I'm like, nah, that ain't, I don't agree with that or what have you. But the fact that somebody that age was able to watch the movie and at least put some seeds of of empowerment in their mind, like, okay, listen, as a young black man, as a young black woman, I understand that the odds aren't in my favor, and I need to start thinking about that. So, in that respect, I appreciate what they were trying to do, because I remember when, as a young man, you know, high school, going on college tours, we went to Tuskegee, and there was a play that was on, and it was outstanding. It was, I think it was called The Colored Museum. I believe that's what the play is called, the Colored Museum. And it's similar to like this type of movie, whereas it was a bunch of different acts, and they would talk about things that were plaguing the black community in terms of like um, sexual assault, molestation, abortions, colorism, different things that were elitism, the bourgeoisie versus the poor, all those things that were talked about way back then, and things that were plaguing our community. Now, this movie is talking about things that are plaguing our community now, because the game stays the same. It stays the same. They try to do everything. When I say they, I'll talk about the government, white America, white supremacy, right? They do everything they can to try to keep us at a third class, second class citizens, right? I saw a guy talk about healthcare, and the reason why we don't have universal healthcare is why? Because black people would get it. Black people would get universal healthcare, so we don't have universal healthcare, and it makes sense. It makes sense. So the game don't change. You know, you come from The Wire. Shout out to Slim Charles on The Wire. The game don't change. It just gets more fierce. And the way they tried to attack us and the pitfalls they put through, I appreciate how this movie tried to call that out.
Yeah, I liked. What do you say the lead actress's name was? The girl from Candyman.
Tiana Parrish.
Tiana Parrish.
Yeah, I loved her. She was my favorite character.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I loved how strong she
Yo-Yo.
was, even though it cracked me up when she was like, "They cloned everybody." He was like, "No, you just a regular hoe. They cost money." I was like,
that was kind of fast. But the fact that she wasn't afraid, though.
at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
She wasn't
And she
afraid.
got them going.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right. And I'm glad that they said, well, you know what, we got to ride for her. You know,
Mhm.
ride for her, we got to rescue her. You know, because if they hadn't done that, I'd probably had an issue with that.
Yeah.
I really see. I didn't have any expectations going into the movie. I had no idea what it was about.
Mm.
I didn't either. I mean, by the name of it, I assumed some, you know,
Yeah.
like, you know, but you never know. Honestly, you never know with movies. And again, I think because everybody was like, "Oh, it's so great of a movie." So I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be an Oscar nominated film." You know, like that's where my mind was when I was going into it. And so I will say there was some like little one-liner quips that were in there that had me cracking up. I'm not gonna lie, it was, you know, almost like ad libs on a record, just throwaway lines, and I was dying laughing at.
You got Jamie Foxx and you got David Allen Greer. You know, even though he had a small role, I mean, there's gonna be some comedy in there.
Uh-huh.
A bit of comedy in there. So I mean, I appreciate the movie. I think it did a good job of trying to be educational. Is that a word?
Bring awareness.
Yeah. Is educational a word?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I appreciate it being educative, but yeah, I appreciate it promoting awareness, and I hope that I don't think that they'll get any awards.
No.
It was a good movie, but I don't think they did anything groundbreaking with like the acting or the cinematography or even the story, even the plot line.
Yeah.
I don't think that warranted any type of awards or anything like that. So that's why I say more like a B minus. You know, and for people who aren't black power militant like me, they'll probably give it like a C plus. So y'all ready to give it a grade now?
I mean, I think a C is fair.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's very fair. I mean, it was maybe a C plus. It was, you know, because I like
good acting.
Exactly. I like the actors and the acting. Oh boy from P Valley.
The murder.
Lil Murder was in there.
Playing the same role that he played in P-Valley, basically.
You know, and
he didn't seem like he liked guys in this role, you know. Well,
right.
He could have.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I would say C plus, maybe B minus, like you said, B minus, C plus, somewhere in that territory. Yeah,
I think that's fair.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, anything that's going to promote awareness and incite discussion with young people, I think is something that we should apply. I don't think it's anything that was negative. I saw a lot of different. I try to stay away from a lot of the reviews and the post about it. I didn't want to discuss it with a lot of people because whenever we talk about something or a topic that we want to discuss, I try to stay away from those things because I don't want to inadvertently copy somebody else's train of thought. Unless I'm giving them credit, right? Like, so and so said this about this, so and so said this about this, but I wanted to give my unadulterated opinion about this movie, and it's something that I would watch again. I mean, it would probably be like background noise, and if I don't
doing the puzzles, I'm like,
I knew he's gonna say.
yeah. But speaking
I
of
like puzzles.
Speaking of
I do too.
education and awareness, I don't know if y'all saw this. I'm gonna throw this on y'all, but news came out that LeBron started his own school.
Mm-hmm.
People thought LeBron started his own school. So really what it is, LeBron was sponsoring a school
in
Akron, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do the research on it, the school was still ran by the Akron school district, the Akron school district. The funding comes from the state or whoever funds. I think state funds go towards schools. LeBron's donation to the school were wraparound services. And see, now I never heard of the term wraparound service until I visited Cleveland. I never saw it in any town or city where I, resided in or anything like that. It wasn't around when my kids were in school. But there was a school in Cleveland that purchased my book about fatherhood, and they gave it to all the dads that came to the school. The school was a Harvey Rice wraparound school. So when they were telling me, when I went to go meet with the students and meet with the teachers, I was thinking, like, why is it called a wraparound? So wraparound means basically they give all kinds of services to the parents because they want to make sure that the education that the children are getting at school, that the parents are able to continue that and to maintain a stable environment so that what they're in processing in the school isn't lost as soon as they go home. So if mom is beat on by her boyfriend, they're finding, okay, listen, we're going to get her hospital services. We have a social worker come in to find her a safe place to stay. If anything along those lines that helps the family be stable and to be a safe space, the home to be a safe space for students. That's what wraparound services mean. So LeBron's money was basically going towards the wraparound services, helping the parents find jobs, helping them get their GEDs. And not only were they doing that, but this school, what I read, was taking the worst of the worst from what the school district deemed, not what they're calling this baby, from what the school district, the children who the school district deemed, at least from the articles that I read, irredeemable. Like, we know there's the school to prison pipeline, and we know that they can predict. They found that, okay, by I think it's the 4th grade, they can say this child right here more than likely will end up in the penitentiary because of where they're at in terms of learning, behavior, all those different factors, right? So this school took that on. Now, it came out that the incoming 8th grade class, they have not passed the state exam for math yet. And people have been using it for fodder to attack LeBron. Ekun, Jason Whitlock talked about it. A lot of people talk about it. And and I want to get y'all's opinion about it. I'm talking a lot about it, but I want to challenge Black people. We talk about showing grace towards one another, right? Talk about showing grace. Do your research on what's really going on about what's affecting our community, then make a decision on, do we need to do better, right? I'm all about accountability and, holding people accountable for what they're doing that's hindering the progress of our community. But if you really look at what's going on, these people are doing God's work and they're trying to save children that everybody else is giving up on. So I don't know. I'm just throwing this at y'all. Have y'all heard about this story, and what do you think?
Yeah, I shared this on the Man Listen page in the story. I saw that they had failed that test, but also that the school had responded. And I like the school's response. They was just like, I mean, this is our starting point, and we're going to keep working with these kids, and we can go nowhere but up from here. And I mean, I think, like you said, you got to give people grace. And I know I don't have the patience to be anybody's teacher, so I take my hat off to all those people that's doing it.
Pandemic showed that nobody had the grace to be nobody's damn teacher, because
Man,
after
and them your own kids too.
after one school year,
kids.
the parents was coming up there like, nah, y'all taking them back.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all taking them back. Like, they was like, shoot, you expect us to do something with these little badass kids, and you don't even want to deal with them. I'm so happy that my youngest was a senior, because I was like, damn, if I'd have to actually teach, it'd be a mess. And they talk about these pandemic kids, because I was worried about it. I was like, man, this hit my kid, right, my youngest kid, like right towards the end of his junior year.
Yeah.
Finished his senior year, and it was kind of like half hybrid, half at home. He's an athlete, so he was, had to be on campus or what have you. And I talked to some educator friends of mine, friends who are educators, and they said, nah, man, you ain't really got to worry about those kids, because they got the basis. They got the basis. You really don't have to worry about the babies, like the kindergarten, first, second, third, even though it's going to be a lot of work to try to get them right.
But they got time.
They got time to try to get them right.
Mm-hmm.
It's those ones who are fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, right? Because that transition from elementary to middle school, the social skills, and all that different stuff that goes along with that time frame that are so crucial and critical, they missed out on it because they were at home during the pandemic. And these kids right here, they're pandemic kids that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Not only are they pandemic kids, these kids were struggling before the pandemic.
Exactly. When you talk about the school, I think I've said it many times. Teaching is like actually one of the things I really wanted to do. So I did it 1 year, like as as an assistant in a middle school in a pretty bad school or what have you, I guess you would say. And it drains you physically. I didn't know, because I guess you don't think about that, but man, you got to physically be in front of 7 classes a day projecting, and hey, attention's going all over here. And then there are emotional, especially in middle school, like you said, those kids in between 5th and 7th grade, that's man, a lot of emotional times for them, things that go on. And if you're not in the right environment, if you're at home and you're not getting the proper socialization and all that, it can just compound those issues. But you talk about the school still being run by the state. Schools are almost, to me, it parallels policing, right? So they over police our neighborhoods, and so they never, a lot of times, let the school districts in our communities have full control. The state still usually has a hand on it, and it means a hand on the money, which obviously is going to impact where the money goes and services they provide, the kind of curriculum and all that stuff. And so it does. I mean, it's understandable. It's school districts all across the country where kids aren't passing math tests, and that's so I wouldn't blame LeBron one bit for that.
First of all, how can you blame him?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But like you said, you have,
but people are using
out here,
way to throw darts and get clout off, trying to for something that he put out there. And
all this is coming from a man who he went to high school and that's it. All these quote unquote celebrities that are college educated, I don't see a lot of them giving back like that. I will shout out Jalen Rose. Jalen Rose has Jalen Rose Youth Academy in Detroit that he runs, and this is by all accounts supposed to be a pretty, or Jalen Rose Leadership Academy is supposed to be a pretty good school. Yeah. But for the most part, you got to applaud LeBron for even putting the effort out there.
I know you're feeling the show, but picture your ad right here. If you want to advertise with us, hit up the link in our bio and we'll get you on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we know that standardized tests are culturally biased anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
That factor in there as well. I mean, I don't think that this is something that should be used to diminish LeBron James. I had people try to say, "Oh, but you're a fan of LeBron, and that's why you're not one to call him out." I'm like, no. I mean, I'm looking at the actual factors,
right?
Common sense.
Like I've said it several times before. You don't go fishing in an aquarium. You don't. That's easy. If I want to go catch fish in an aquarium, that's easy. But if you go out in that deep water, in that rough water, where the tides and when it's hard to catch that fish and try to get it to where it needs to be. That's where the real work is, and that's what these people are doing. Because we talk about how the pandemic affected students. Man, this is going to have a drastic impact on us because I have family and friends who are educators, several of them, and they talked about what they're seeing in the school. And I remember when the pandemic first happened, how one family member was in an affluent district. And within a week, every kid had a tablet, laptop, and I'm not talking about every household, every kid.
Yeah.
So you had like three brothers and sisters at a school. Each one of them had their own piece of technology so they could keep up, right? But you go into the poor districts, the Black districts, right? Nah, they didn't have that. First of all, they didn't even have technology. If they did, they were having to share it. So what if you got 3 kids who in elementary school?
Right? Well, a lot of them didn't even have Wi-Fi at the homes either. They had to give out the hotspots.
They didn't have Wi-Fi, so you had to give them hotspots. And if they didn't have technology, then what are they doing? Oh, I got to try to log on to class on mama's phone. And it's 3 of us. How are we going to use mama's phone and really learn something?
Right.
And my kids, they had tablets before the pandemic. They each had their own Chromebook. So everyone in the school already had it. So when this pandemic shut down, all they did was say, here's your lesson plan for the week. Start doing this until we start figuring out how we're going to do virtual classes. But they already had the technology beforehand. So I'm assuming most affluent neighborhoods did already have what they needed to be virtual anyway.
Yeah.
Man, that's something that we're going to need to keep an eye on, how that's going to impact us. LeBron, keep doing what you're doing.
Yes.
For sure.
You see the show, and I can't say it because Arika told me not to.
You already said it.
But for those of y'all,
I wish I had never said anything because you say it more now.
Go with the bit. But I just want y'all to just be a little bit more aware of how people are trying to play us against one another and how this is used as a way to stick somebody who is really trying to put it on the line to do it for the community.
And I heard somebody also say that because of those kind of reactions, that's why people are reluctant to even put their name or to even get behind certain things because of the backlash, unwarranted or not, that they're going to get, from a certain segment of the population, no matter what they do. And so that a lot of people will just stay in their place, just stay quiet, don't speak out, because, that they're fearful of that backlash.
Yeah. And, and shout out to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Now, y'all know that I'm a Nas fan, so that doesn't mean I dislike Jay.
Yeah.
But, I ride with Nas. I'm going to have to give Jay-Z
on the mic. Yeah.
I have to give Jay-Z and his wife major props because they put it on the line financially for the community. Without a doubt. Like, there's no question. And I remember I can't remember, was it Mike Brown? There's been so many. It might have been Sean Bell. I can't remember, but it was when they first got married and there was a rally for somebody. It may have been Mike Brown, but we'll just say it was one of the people who were murdered by police, one of the black women that was murdered by police. And they showed up at the rally. They showed up showing support at the rally. And people criticize them for that. Oh, y'all showed up just to try to make it all about you. And I was just like, hold on, man, that's completely unfair. So what they did was, instead of doing like you mentioned, last, saying, hey, listen, you know what? We're gonna get, stung either way. So you might as well just not be involved. They just said, you know what? Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Do the work. Behind the scenes. And honestly, you don't need Jay-Z and Beyonce at a rally.
No.
You don't.
Because it loses, it becomes about them. Yeah.
Well, now I don't say that it comes about them, but anything can pop off at a rally. Police, tear gas, anything that can pop off, we don't need them there. We need them to continue to do what they do.
Yeah.
Earning the money that they earn, and they're saying, and them giving back to the community so that they can uplift Black people. That's what we really need them to do. Yeah. There's levels to what we should be doing. Honestly, at our older age, well, not old, at our older age, them rallies and stuff, they ain't really for us. They're not. Our role is to be guys, give sage wisdom, and say, okay, listen, someone got arrested. Okay, we just put together some bail money so we can get them out. Those type of things. As a community, those are things that we need to do. And just bringing it on back to They Cloned Tyrone, I'm glad that they came together as a community, and I hope people see that message and they like, okay, listen, if we band together, we can really make a difference against those who are trying to oppress us. But anyway, I think we talked about it enough. Make sure you follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Y'all let me talk a whole bunch of this show, and I hope people ain't bored. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at manlistenshow. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. Click that bell icon so you can be notified when we have another show. Go to our website, www.manlistenshow.com. Listen to our past episodes. Go to our Instagram. Follow us. Click the link in our bio. You can buy some merchandise, and we'll holler at you next time. Peace. Peace. It's out to sea.